I hereby call to order the board workshop of the Board of Trustees of the East Central Independent School District being held on February 10th, 2026, and beginning at 5 p.m. Madam Secretary, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Ginger Friesenheim.
Here.
David Santos.
Yes, ma'am, here.
Oliver Gerhart.
Here.
James Murphy. Gail Brazil is here. Emilio Carrasco. Monique Freitas.
Here.
So we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The next item on the agenda is prayer and pledge.
Ms. Martin?
Please stand by your prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for your many blessings upon our district. We ask that you continue to guide us in all of the decisions that we make, and we ask that you continue to help us be innovative and strategize for the district to be successful in all that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We don't have any public comments. So the next item is our work session. Item 5.1, report out innovative schools, valor, victory, STEM.
Yes, ma'am. Trustees, you'll recall from our Pathways training last week, we talked a little bit about choice schools, innovative school models, and all of the things as we were thinking about that aspect of the work in our strategy with the system of great schools. So what we want to do today, given that we're going to be opening Victory and Valor, is hear a little bit from our respective principals about those unique innovative school models. And prior to that, just an overview, just a reminder really of what our choice schools that are currently in our portfolio entail. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Barnes and the team.
Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Board members, friends, family. So, short and sweet, but hopefully fun as well. We're just gonna, East Central's taken some bold moves the last couple years in how we think about education for our students and kind of shifting from traditional brick and mortar schoolhouse, the way we experience as students, to opening up opportunities to see how our kiddos can engage in a different type of learning so that we're preparing them for a future that, quite honestly, we don't even know what it's going to look like in 10 years. And so some of those bold moves include choice schools. So we've got Salado Leadership Academy in dual language. PV's opened up as a STEM academy, Oak Crest for the dual language component, and then CAST Lead, our 1882 partnership with CAST. And then as a result of some of our School Action Fund grants in partnership with TEA, we are able to open up Valor as a college and career preparatory academy, and then Victory as a STEM academy, and then we're looking at an ACE model for Legacy. Future bold moves, which actually can be updated again, we're looking at ASD 2627, we're looking at the resource campus for Legacy, and we were just awarded the SAF grant for elementary school number 10, so that as of last week has already been updated. So today we're going to take a little dive into Victory and Valor, but before we do, we're going to have a little fun. So I'm going to put you guys into 3 groups. So the 3 of you guys want to be together. You want a nice little space right there to work. And we can do the 3 of you guys together. Joy, if you want to play along. And then Shane, I'm going to do over here for the group guys. All right, so there is a timer on the board. You are going to have 5 minutes with your team. I'm going to give you a little packet of materials. You've got some index cards and you've got a dice. And your challenge is to build the tallest tower you can that will withstand the weight of the dice. Got it? So you're going to work together. You're going to create a tower. You can only use what's in your bag. 5 minutes. Tallest tower that holds the dice at the end of 5 minutes wins. All right, let's get ready. Get set and go.
Okay, so I need to fold them.
Is there actually as tall as possible? Not fall down. That's all. That would be a good foundation.
I interpret.
That's always
Have y'all practiced this? Do you know this?
There are many sets.
Just observing. It's like my kids do science fair. I'm like, you can't do
Three minutes and 10 seconds.
Don't breathe over there. Don't breathe.
That's right. That doesn't count?
I like to see Shane get taller than that.
We had it going.
America.
And here we go with 5 seconds. 4,
God!
3, 2, 1. All right. On this freestanding tower that's supporting the guys. Look at that
It
freestanding
says the tallest tower.
Holding the torch.
Stand.
Holding the torch.
Making up the rules. So guess what? in defeat.
That's right.
Even in defeat.
In our lesson today, there was no lecture, there was no book to read, but there were problems to solve. You were imagining and brainstorming what the possibility could look like. You were planning. Some of you guys jumped right in and started building. Some of you guys had conversations about what would be most structurally sound and how do you build the base. You guys were creating with your own design. You were testing and improving along the way. Some of your whole towers fell down, some not. Some got a little wobbly. You had to adjust. You shared your ideas and ideas with others, and even within your group. And you said, would it be better if we do this? Should we stabilize like this? You all fell into your own different roles. You asked a lot of questions. Can we do one more? Can we do one more? How much time? All right. And then you worked to solve the problem. So you guys were doing the exact cognitive work that we want our students in our STEM academies to experience every single day. So we are building those academies with this kind of work in mind, so that we're developing problem solvers so our kids can tackle any challenge, whether it's stacking dice onto the playing cards or building the next set of AI technology that didn't even exist yet. So I'm going to turn it over to Maggie. She's going to give you a little bit more information on Victory.
So starting with Victory Elementary STEM Academy, leading the future one student at a time. So starting off with our mission, I'm really excited to be here to give you a small preview of all the amazing work that we have been working with the School Empowerment Network to prepare Victory and what our vision and mission. So at the beginning of the year, I took a lot of time to research exactly what the Elmendorf community, what our students really need. So I went out, talked to parents from Elmendorf, talked to community members, to students. I went to go visit programs at the high school, kind of ask the students, what is it exactly that you need or you wish you had in elementary to prepare you for some of the programs. So the pathway that we have selected for Victory is applied mathematics. Students don't realize sometimes how impactful you need math in real world. So our students will be taking everything they're learning in math and applying it to the real world and how it benefits the real world. I visited the program where they're building the car. I cannot think of the name. And one of the students told me, he's like, I wish I knew how important 3D shapes were. He was having to learn 3D shapes before he was released out to build the car and the importance and the impact of the 3D shape. We will strive with high expectations. A lot of the parents mentioned that they want their students really to be pushed to not give up and have that high expectation. So our students, our staff, myself, the team will drive with high expectations. We will inspire through rigorous learning, so we'll ensure that our students are getting that rigorous and that impactful, effective instruction to ensure that we are closing the gaps and we're getting that continuous learning. To make sure that we are getting that continuous growth, our goal and our mission is, of course, to make sure that our students are post-secondary ready and overall lifelong learners. So as you were doing the activity, think of how skills you needed to be able to, and those skills you use into the real world, but every day in the classroom, out in the job force. Our students will also, our mission is for them to develop a mindset to be able to tackle challenges, have that growth mindset and not give up, work effectively with others. So think about right now how important it was for you all to collaborate to ensure that you are successful. And then work effectively with others, and then of course lead with confidence. Mr. Toscano, will you read the last sentence, the underlined sentence?
We don't just prepare students for tomorrow, we inspire them to achieve victory in their lives and lead the future.
Well, our mission is for our students to be prepared to lead the future. Oh, thank you. So how will we get there? Our first year target is 60% of our students at above grade level within the 5 years have 100% in math, science, and reading. So what will we do to ensure we get there? We will continue being data-driven, constantly analyzing data to make those shifts in the instruction and teacher practices, any kind of PD that teachers need. As we're going in observing, looking at what patterns or any kind of gaps that teachers need with that professional development, integrating STEM every day, so the skills that you just used, our engineer design process, and then as we're analyzing student data, knowing our each individual students to ensure that we are targeting the appropriate intervention they need to close those gaps and getting that continuous growth and that continuous learning. So real quick, our STEM pedagogy framework, it ensures that students receive master grade level academic content. So we will ensure that happens by giving effective PD, making sure teachers are delivering that tier 1 instruction the first time. So students are getting it that first time, and we're closing those gaps and not creating bigger gaps. Accelerate their learning through Social Empowerment Network. We do have teaching practices that teachers will be trained with, that we will ensure that they are integrating the skills. So for example, turn and talk, that embeds the communication. And then of course, developing those STEM fluency skills that they need to be lifelong learners. Mr. McKay, will you read the bottom sentence?
Continuous growth means continuous success.
So as we embed all this, we will make sure that we get continuous growth to ensure we are getting continuous success as we send them off to middle school and high school and into the real world. So this is my little raptors. They are working on a project. So Victory, our goal and our mission is for Victory to be a launch pad. We want to start them early. Sometimes some of the kiddos that we get, this is the first academics or structure, any type of communication that they're learning. So 5 essential skills that you all just so kind of think of as you were working in your group. Collaboration, the importance of you collaborating. So really emphasizing to kids on how that brings up that critical thinking, and when they go into middle school, high school, into the job force, the importance of collaborating. And we know sometimes as adults, collaboration can be tough. Through the engineer design process is building that creativity, communication. We know with our little ones that is a big struggle on appropriate communication, clear communication, and being active listeners to ensure that in the classroom, to ensure they're actively listening so they're able to master the skill. Critical thinking, did y'all have to do some critical thinking? Yeah. And perseverance. I saw Mr. Toscano's tower collapse. I'm like, keep going, don't give up. So just really growing, having that mindset to not give up, and to really push through all these challenges. These habits are at the heart of every lesson and every project at Victory. And then this is our first class, 2032 maybe? Graduating from East Central. They are academically striving. They have been exposed to careers. They got the appropriate skills they need to be top tier candidates and lead the future and whatever career pathway, military, in order to, like I said, lead the future and represent East Central.
Thank you.
And I will turn it over to Ms. Beckett.
All right. So thank you for having us tonight. As you know, this year is our pilot year. In order, we also did these working with School Empowerment Network, did an SAF grant. And in order to keep that grant after our planning year, we had to open a little early before the building was ready. So we have about 87, we started with 87, we've had a few students move. We are at 83 right now, 84. We had a transfer over. And so we're really excited about the foundation that we've started, and then once we move into our new beautiful building next year. So rather than me read the mission for you, I'm going to play, but it will work. It won't work. It was really cool. It was one of our students reading the mission. Oh, what else? Oh, no, here we go. This is Gabriel.
To Career Preparatory Academy, we empower resilient problem solvers who are equipped to shape their futures. Our students learn to advocate for themselves, think critically, and explore the wide range of opportunities available after high school, whether in college or career. Through rigorous academics, strong relationships, and a culture of growth, we foster self-discovery and aspiration. Students gain knowledge, skills, and mindset to succeed in any path they choose, becoming lifelong learners and leaders.
So that was one of our.
Did he memorize that?
He memorized that. Yes. And the kids wanted
Excited.
the kids. Well, that's why they were excited. And so that was each one. We start our day right in our school community, and so it's really built that sense of family within them. And so as you could tell from the other students cheering them on and doing that support for everybody else, but the kids wanted to memorize it on their own. So. Yeah, it was cool. And so they wanted to do that. And so once he did it, then they wanted to keep doing it. So all of our work for the instructional vision is, instead of just having our canvas, like our goal, our mission, we also have an instructional vision. And it kind of
goes along with a lot of the work that Maggie talked about in the collaboration. Like, kids need to collaborate daily, and that's part of what all of our teachers really strive for. They need those opportunities to work with each other, because that's what's going to happen in the real world. One of the other wins is personal challenge and support, because we have kids coming in at all different levels. One of the big misconceptions that we had in the beginning of the year was parents would call in, they would say, you know, here's a kid coming from 5th grade to 6th grade, and they would say, my kid isn't college material. And so we think, well, how do you know? They're 11 or 12 years old, and everyone should have that opportunity, whether that's the path you go or not. And so that's one of the things we really stress with our kids is maybe college isn't for everyone, and that's okay, but it's about those opportunities and doing that moving forward. And then having high expectations for everyone, no matter where you come in, whether you are that GT student or maybe that student who's serviced by special education, whatever range you're on, those expectations stay high. And our teachers have done an amazing job of providing the supports for our kids. Like, we're gonna get you there, but the bar doesn't come down just because that's where maybe you've been. So,
Sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Sorry.
So part of our 3 design elements, one of our big is just exposure. In the beginning of the year, we asked our students, hey, what do you want to do? Like, what is a career that you're interested in? All of the boys want to be in the NFL, and the girls want to be influencers. So that was their career plan, because that's what they're exposed to. So we've really tried. We've gone on field trips. We've done things online. We've had guest speakers come in, just because kids don't know what's out there. You know, that's what they see. They see, you know, their YouTuber or, you know, this Sunday, you know, watching the NFL, which those are, you know, maybe that's your path, but let's have a backup. So here's some of the plans for that. The college-ready academics for everyone, and we talked about that level of rigor for all of our students and having those high expectations. And then the leadership and character and growth. You know, we talk sometimes about being good people first. And you saw that a little bit of the other students in there cheering on Gabriel as he recited the mission. And so just that character building, that we do a lot of that in our morning in our communities. And then the one thing I think that really sets us apart that we have is AVID. And if you're not familiar with AVID, AVID is a nationwide program that's pushed into schools. And it really, the best way I think I could describe it is it teaches learners how to learn. It teaches students how to learn. It teaches them how to advocate for themselves, how to study, how to advocate for themselves and moving forward. One of the things, and Maggie talked about, we got to spend a whole year kind of looking at what do we need. And one of the big takeaways is we have all these students who graduate from East Central, but the percentage of them that actually go on to earn a credential or a degree isn't as high as any of us would be happy with. And so we kind of looked at, like, what do they need? Because the academics are there, do they need some of these other skills that are built in? So we started off very small this year with our group, but we have the right team, and we just super happy with our foundation that we have, and just can't wait to build upon it next year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did it save our time?
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, 5.2, discussion of 2026-2027 legacy ISD calendar.
Yeah, so at the last regular meeting, trustees, you adopted the calendar for all schools, which is an ISD calendar. We added some school days, as we had discussed over a couple of meetings. But we said we would be coming back with an addendum to that, that was specific or unique to legacy. We were going to give Mr. Hyatt a chance to interact with his faculty, staff, and with the parents and community. He's done that. And he's got some recommendations for us that he wants to present. So, Mr. Hyatt?
Yeah. Hey all, thank you. I know you have your packet in front of you, so I just want to, I'll kind of keep it short and sweet and open it up more to questions if you have them. So we wanted to take the ADSI days and really think about, like, what makes the most sense for our students and for our teachers. I think one of the things that I'm cognizant of is, like, how are we going to set up our kids, but then also how are we going to make sure that our teachers can stay for the long haul. We wanted to make sure that there was something that we could find in the middle. So for the ADSI days, we chose to do 5 days at the beginning of the school year and then 1 day in February. The rationale behind that is we want to set a really good foundation over here. And then in February, we want to use that half day to really target those students that need the most help getting what they need before they're able to jump into their STAR testing and their SATE testing moving forward. So we found that that was the best way to do it. I'm anticipating a 95 plus return rate for our teachers. So the amount of like foundational professional development we have to do with the staff is wildly different than it was at the beginning of last year. So we can use those first 5 days to really teach our students how to be a legacy knight, how to come to school, how to transition, how to work in those classes. How do I read, like, what do I do when I'm reading something? Like, how do I annotate it? How do, like, those foundational things. But additionally, we want kids to be excited. When you walk the halls of Legacy, like, there is a joy that is palpable, right? And for those of you that have been here, you know it, you see it. This allows us to lay that foundation earlier so that when we come to the first day of school, we can hit the ground running. So we have things, so I have a committee that's coming together on Tuesday to talk about specific, what we're gonna do every single one of the days. But broadly speaking, we wanna have motivational speakers, we wanna have local celebrities and local business leaders that come in. We wanna have a job fair on one of the days so that kids can like talk to different people, because a lot of times kids enter into, as 11 and 12-year-olds, they have no idea what they want to do with their life, right? They have no idea what path to pursue. And we're asking kids in 5th grade a lot of times to choose a path that's gonna lead them somewhere, right? So we wanna give them some exposure to that. So that'll be a big piece of it. We will have a lot of fun too. We'll do pep rallies, we'll do get-togethers. The kids will be there from 7:55 in the morning until 11:55, so they will have breakfast and lunch. We need to talk about transportation, friend. But we'll have transportation. We're gonna give them a good practice the week before, right? So all of those reasons, I presented to staff, and they were actually really excited about it. They were really excited about the opportunity to invest in our students early. So once I got like the buy-in from the staff, I then had 2 parent meetings last week where I asked for feedback from parents. I presented it in this way as like, this is just an extra time for your kid to come in and really make sure that they're gonna be able to hit the ground running on the first day of school. It was wildly successful. We had about, I would say 30 parents for the 6th and 7th graders, and then we had about 50 or 60 for the current 5th graders that just wanted to come in and ask questions. They asked a lot of questions. I was there till like 7:30, but it was fine, because I told them I would stand there until all their questions were asked, but it was okay. But they were overall just really excited. And some of the feedback they gave us is like, will you make sure and go over some of the rules so that when the kids come in, they know what the rules are, like what to do. So that was one of the pieces of feedback I got from a family like in person. They also filled out a survey that I read through. And one of the big things that came over is like, just thank you. Like, thank you so much for doing this. Especially from our 5th grade families, they are so nervous sending their children to a school of 1,200 other kids, right? Like they're used to, knowing their teacher, being able to call or text their teacher on a regular basis, and their kid is pretty much with that teacher for most of the day, right? They have specials and they may departmentalize a little bit in 5th grade, but this idea of like throwing my little baby into a middle school with 1,200 other kids is terrifying, right? So what I got from the 5th grade parents, the rising 6th grade parents, is like, they were like, oh, thank you so much. We've been asking for something like this, but we didn't realize it was possible. So they're super stoked about it. It was really a great reception from the families, and we were able to kind of talk through some of their questions and that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited for the time. I really think all the stakeholders are super excited for it too. And I think this could be the beginning of something that's really beautiful for our campus. I have done like a summer school boot camp type situation in a previous organization I worked with. And the ability to lay the foundation academically pays dividends all the way throughout the year. I already know what to do when I see a nonfiction text. I already know how to set up my paper, no matter what. And this is before the first day of school. So those little things are super important moving forward. So just want to name that. That's kind of an overview. There are a lot more details in there if you want to look at this sheet or this sheet. You can see the actual dates are labeled on here. And then this one pager you can kind of look through as well. But I also wanted to answer any questions that you had and just make sure that that kind of overview is clear.
I heard there was a little bit of chit chat about worry about it closing?
There was, that was fun.
Do you
So,
able to combat that?
my
Okay.
favorite is the Facebook page that is dedicated to my school. Can't wait to be invited to that one. But there was a rumor that was going on because the notification that we sent out was we are moving from an ACE campus to a resource campus. And they thought it was like a physical move to a different campus. So I need to think about and work on my communication so that I can be better for next time so we don't cause that kind of. So it was on me. I sent something out and they looked at it and they were like, oh my God, do I have to take my kid to a different place? But that was most of it. We were able, a lot of those parents were able to join us in some of those meetings, so we were able to get ahead of it.
Good.
And luckily, my officer on campus is a part of the Facebook messages, so she showed it to me this week.
Good
She's
job.
like, hey, check
Nice.
this out.
Thank you.
Who's that kid? And let me call them. So,
I can help you with communication
yeah, I
at
appreciate
Victory.
that. Yeah, thank you so much. Anything else? Any other questions I can answer about the ADSI days? All right. It is called Nights Rising. So this is the last day that we will refer to it as ADSI days. It is now called Nights Rising.
Let's see the card. Good.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Thanks, sir.
Okay, item 5.3, discussion of list number 3, SB 13 procurement list for library materials.
Yeah, trustees, you've got the list attached. It's electronically attached in your packet. Of course, you'll see a number of titles, lots of detail in the evaluations, and none flagged. So there were no titles flagged per the criteria that the subcommittee has been reviewing. And so our recommendation is going to be to consider adoption of those as presented. Ms. Burns is here. If you have any questions, when you open your electronic packet, Cambria apologizes in advance. It's like 70, negative 15 font.
That's a lot of pages.
But you can zoom in, yes. You can.
It's on 650, but you can zoom in.
Yeah, Ms. Burns, did you have anything to add to the?
Just that the reason books weren't flagged on this one, this is the award books coming from the Texas Library Association and the American Library Association. And so they've already gone through an extensive review process. It might seem like a lot of books on the list, I did want to mention this, but remember that the ISBN number might be different for hardback versus paper. Thank you, I was lost for a word there. So that's why some you'll see the same title multiple times. So the books have already gone through pretty extensive review, alignment to standards, and that's why it's a little different this time. And thank you for myself and the librarians for embarking on this new process that we were given this year. So we appreciate it. Thank you. Any questions? No? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, everybody else got an applause.
Oh,
You can't be loud like this. I mean,
Okay, next item is item 5.4, discussion of application of the Texas Education Agency for Teacher Certification Extension Plan.
Yeah, so you have a hard copy in your miscellaneous packet of what Ms. Sanders will be discussing with the board today. And you also have a copy in your electronic packet. But essentially, this is our response to House Bill 2, which essentially is requiring a certification for teachers that is different in terms of the timelines for full certification than previously. You might recall that we have teachers that pursue alternative certification. For example, we have teachers that are designated certified through our District of Innovation. But all the while, in the state of Texas, we have a teacher shortage. And so Ms. Sanders is going to talk through kind of our current status with uncertified teachers, quote unquote, talk a little bit about what we mean by uncertified teachers, because not all uncertified teachers are created equal, and what we're doing to work with every individual to ensure full credentialing, but also what our strategy is for building our teacher workforce, multiple strategies. But then ultimately, what we're going to be presenting here is a request for the district to allow us to submit a request to the agency to extend the timeline a little bit for when we will have to have 100% certified teachers. So that's the real ask, but we wanted to provide more context, background, as I framed out. So I'll turn it over to Ms.
I
Sands.
just want to say it's only in the electronic.
Only in the electronic package, sorry.
Okay,
But
so
she's got some slides. Is it in the slide deck, or do you go to just follow?
I'm just,
Okay.
they'll just follow the plan.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go through that.
Okay.
So as Mr. Toscano said, just stated, we are going to need to, by this next school year, have at least our foundational core teachers fully certified. So foundational core is our reading, math, science, and social studies teachers. So over the last several years, we have been able to utilize District of Innovation to bypass certification and give individuals a little bit more time to obtain that certification. But now the state is giving us a deadline, so to speak, to make this happen. So really what this plan is what our next steps are and where we've been and where we plan to go over the next 3 years if the agency grants us this extension. So if you look at your follow along on the inside of the document, we can see that we are giving them a rationale as to why there's a delay. We're a growing district, so we've got 2 new campuses that we're going to open. That's part of it. There still continues to be a teacher shortage, and so we're starting to see that teacher shortage we're kind of on the upswing with that, and so we're hopeful that will help us gain certified teachers. And then also the unsuccessful passing of the VADER has not been helpful. So currently what we know that we currently have individuals that are not certified in our district. What it says in the document is 71. So that number is from about 2 weeks ago because we had to prepare this for this meeting. But what I can say is I have a coordinator that's designated to basically case manage all of the individuals that are not certified in our district. And so the latest number as of today is now 61. So in the last 2 weeks, we have managed to get people to do what they need to do, go through their modules if they're in an alternative certification, and then go in and test. So we're now down to 61. So we're making progress. And so what we see from some of our teachers is they can go through the university pathway to become a teacher, or they can go through alternative certification. So when they go through the university, it is easier for them to get that certification. Now, we have seen over the last few years that some of them come out of the university programs not completing their exams. So we've had to deal with that as well. With alternative certification, it's about a year to a year and a half long program, and they do have requirements. They have to get accepted into the program. They have to have modules that they have to complete that are several hours of modules that they have to do online. They have several hours of observation, and then they have to take a practice test with the alt cert in order to even take the actual exam. So sometimes that can be a challenge because they don't have the university background to be able to know the pedagogy of the content and then sometimes the instructional strategies. So I feel like we have grown, like over the last 2 weeks, we've made a push. We've been really making a push since November with these individuals, meeting with them. My coordinator, Dalia Hernandez, has been meeting with them, setting up Zooms. I've been meeting with the principals. We've been looking at lists. Principals have been having conversations. So you also see there by campus what we're looking at as far as uncertified teachers. Over the last 3 years, you'll see the number of foundational teachers that we've hired that are not certified. And it has fluctuated some in between there. So if you look at the next section, it talks about targeted goals every year. What we want to reduce percentage-wise from now until 2030. 2030 is going to be the year that 100% of our teachers have to be certified, okay? So for this year, we want to reduce that uncertified number by 15%. For next school year by 25%. So you can see the following school year 35, by 28, 29, 50, and then of course by 29, 30, we want to have full compliance with all of our teachers being 100% certified. We are working with our teachers or those individuals again, giving them opportunities. We work with A&M San Antonio, they have test prep days. So we'll let them know what those days are so they can go and sit in on those practice sessions to help them when they take that exam. And then again, the alternative certification programs as well. We work with several, mainly one of them is Texas Teachworthy, and we'll see them a little bit later on in the plan. Again, through our department, we are tracking. We have a huge spreadsheet. We're meeting with them, we'll take notes, meeting with principals, so we're really case managing all of those individuals.
Mrs. Sanders? if
Yes.
I may, I have a question with regard to the percent right there. That's by 2030, that's everybody that we have current. What about anybody coming in new?
So when they come in new, starting next year, if they come in and they have not met that certification requirement, then we are very closely going to work with them and set a very tight timeline as to you have to be certified.
Right.
So if we hire, let's say we get a recommendation in May for somebody June, we're gonna let them know by the time school year starts, you have to be certified.
Okay.
And so really working tightly with them and setting some really tight timelines so they can achieve that. And so if we hire, let's say in August, let's say they're a late hire, then we'll just kind of push that back a little bit, but still setting some really strict timelines with those individuals and sitting really one-on-one with them and having them sign, like, if you don't meet this deadline, then we're gonna have to have some conversations about your employment and what that looks like. Now, what I can also say is that we also do talk to the principals, because we do have some individuals that are not certified, but they are performing very well in the classroom. When you look at their student growth data, when you look at their evaluations, they're performing well without a certificate. So we don't also want to shoot ourselves in the foot.
Right.
We've got somebody that's performing well and we need them to get certified. So those are nuances that we'll talk through, definitely talk through with principals. Of course, Mr. Toscano is involved in those conversations and how we want to proceed. So that answers.
It does.
If
Yes.
the delay is not, if the request is not granted, what does that do? Does that change the year? Or is that, it has to be immediately?
So like, that would be immediately. That's why we've made this huge push, right? Like right now, for those individuals that are not certified, to really get them to get done. And then also right now.
Yeah, so if we don't do the extension, what is the implication for these uncertified folks?
Right,
So
so,
instead of 2030, does it change? Is what?
say that again, I'm sorry.
So if we don't submit this and get the extension,
Right,
what are the implications for the district with regard to uncertified folks?
so like these individuals that are not certified and we don't get the extension, then we're gonna have to make some decisions contract-wise for them for next school year. And again, it's looking at the big picture, because again, we do have some that are doing well. And then moving forward of, what, are we renewing them, are we not? Are we gonna give them until, the beginning of May, middle of May, and then be done? Because the type of contract that those individuals have allows us some flexibility with timelines for a non-renewal. We don't have to meet the April timeline.
And we're submitting, did I miss who we're submitting this
To TEA.
to?
Yes, ma'am. So as soon as this gets approved and signed, we'll submit it, and then we'll wait for a response from the agency.
Yeah, what Mr. Sanders is essentially going through is actually what is required to be submitted is a plan, a detailed plan.
Okay.
So that's what this is,
Okay.
actually, is the draft of the detailed plan. She's just kind of going through it
Okay.
point by point to make sure that the board feels really comfortable with it.
Yeah, because my question was gonna be, okay, so the purpose, and you already said, is for us to approve, you to apply for this, extended time or whatever. So, and how long will that be? Do we know if, we have to apply for it each time?
One time,
or
and
how
it
does
gives
that
us,
work?
it gives us until 2030 to be
Okay, it
fully
just gives us
compliant.
until 2030?
Yes.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have an extension or something?
Now, the nuance is, it's case by case for every individual.
Okay, okay.
So depending on, for example, A, are they performing? B, have we been communicating about when they need to be done, and have they made progress? Or have they just neglected it altogether and they're not performing? So it doesn't mean that that we're gonna string all these people along and keep them employed to 2030. It just means we as a system have some flexibility to work with them case by case. We are not gonna continue to employ uncertified people who are not performing. This extension will not change that.
And you got 10 in 2 weeks.
That's right.
So case by case might not be that bad.
Right.
when This is approved.
Because we're continuing to push. I mean,
That's great.
Ms. Adonis is continuing.
Now, what I thought was kind of interesting, in 23, 24, we had 59 that weren't certified. Last year, 24, 25, we had 39. And so this year, for 25, 26, we have 55 that are. So does this, what does that, what can we anticipate for 26, 27 in terms of new hires and, you know, we're
Yeah.
familiar with how, you know, the shortage of the teachers and
Yeah.
the things we have to do to be creative, blah, blah, blah.
Good
Yeah, so-
question. So what Mr. Sanders was indicating was we're starting to see an uptick.
Okay.
We're starting to finally see more and more candidates coming out of the teacher prep programs
Okay.
and universities.
Okay.
And we are continuing to grow our residency program, as well as we're going to embark on a Grow Your Own program, which she'll point out here in a few minutes. So all of those things together,
Into the plan to, okay.
we're anticipating
Got
seeing
it.
that number gradually decline as well.
Mhm.
So, we believe that by 2030, we will be compliant.
So as Mr. Toscano said, we are going to work with an alternative certification program called Teachworthy to partner. That's our plan right now. They will help us with those individuals, right, that need that push to get certified. We work with various alternative certification programs. What we've realized with them is that they work very well with their candidates and they're very responsive to us whenever we reach out. And they do like their observation. They make sure that people stay on track. Like their goal is within a year to get people in and out of their program. And so they will be assisting us as we, you know, if there is somebody that's not certified, they would assist us with those individuals. And so as Mr. Toscano also said, you know, we are starting to see kind of an uptick in our programs producing those certified individuals. And for us, what's really, what we've really grown well, I believe, in the last 2 to 3 years has been our paid residency program, because we have had really good outcomes with the individuals that have been with us, and then they're staying with us. So we're doing a really good job, I feel like, retaining those individuals, and they're certified. They've been with us a year, they've been with a master teacher, they know our systems, they know our kids, they know the instruction. And so we're continuing to grow that program. This year we have 30 residents. Just received the grant allotment last week, so we could go up to 40. You know, we've just got to make sure that we've got post teachers to make that happen. But as that continues to grow too, that's going to continue to give us a good bank of certified teachers as we continue to move into the future. And then starting with the Grow Your Own program, really looking at our paraprofessionals, right, that may be wanting to go into the teaching profession, looking at our teacher prep program students at the high school and what could that look like. So those are just some things that moving forward will continue to allow us to hopefully get a bench of teachers that are ready and certified.
Please bear with me.
No, of course.
I'm pretty familiar with certifications and things.
Yes, ma'am.
Working at that. And so you're certified, but you don't stay certified unless you recertify, right? So
Yes,
do we have is there a plan to reasonably help them to go ahead and get their recertification so that they will stay certified?
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
So with that, if they're a certified teacher, they recertify every 5 years.
Okay.
And in that amount of time, they have to have a certain amount of professional development. So when they recertify, they go into the portal,
Yeah.
and it just asks them, basically what it asks them is, what is the last date of your professional development and how many hours, and they put that in, and they recertify for another 5 years. So, yeah, and they get plenty of professionals. They definitely meet that criteria. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, that's it.
No, you're fine. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. So we will continue to do our recruitment. You know, we go to our universities, we do that. And again, I think really right now our biggest opportunity is really through our residency and grow your own program. So we'll continue to do those things as we move forward. We want to be, of course, we need to be in alignment with this requirement. And we're hopeful that we will get the extension, hopefully when there's something in a month or so.
And I just want to reiterate something that also Sandra said. Every one of these employees will get an agreement that details out the plan and the timeline for them. And has milestones that they have to meet along the way. So they will acknowledge that they understand that, and they will also acknowledge that should they not make progress or complete that in that time frame, it will have negative employment sanctions. So we just want to be as clear as we can, but we also need to set deadlines. And we'll ride alongside and support them all the way, but they got to do their part. And so that's an example of what's started to happen with these 10 just in the last 2 weeks, is they delivered, they got it done. And we've been doing this work all year long, so several of the remaining 61 are pretty far along in the continuum, and we anticipate by the end of this year, a large percentage of those will also be fully certified. But we'll manage every one of those case by case. And again, we will not have employees who are not certified and not performing in our system, even with this extension. This just gives us as a system the flexibility we need to stick with those a little longer that are maybe not certified, but they are high performing. And they just need that time.
And so this reduction of charges, I can say 7% of it, excuse me. This is a real plan that we can do this. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, so by that time, we should absolutely be at full compliance.
Yep, it's an authentic plan, it's what we're actually doing, and we believe this, if we do this, continue to do this, we will deliver compliance by 2030.
Any questions? Thank you. Okay, next item is 5.5, discussion of Senate Bill 546, update requirements, school bus seatbelts.
All right, trustees, so Senate Bill 546 is a continuation of the seatbelt legislation. So if you'll recall, in recent years, Mr. Jurek, Ms. Gonzalez have brought recommendations to the board, which essentially, the goal of the legislature is to ensure that there are 3-point seatbelts on all school buses going forward. They know that it could be an issue with feasibility for districts. Previous to this particular legislation, if it was not feasible, a district could indicate that and a board could acknowledge that. And by acknowledging that, you're essentially saying we can't afford it, it's cost prohibitive, and so we're not going to put seatbelts, 3-point seatbelts on buses. With Senate Bill 546, there's a time frame by which a district needs to be compliant within. It's unfunded currently, but there is a requirement for the commissioner to gather data. So what Mr. Jurek is going to present today, really briefly, is a review of essentially what we have to do to submit. So this is going to be our submission. We're acknowledging it's not feasible, and he's going to show some numbers as to what that cost would be. In our report that we got to submit to the commissioner, which he will aggregate across the state and submit by 2027 to the legislature, is the number of buses in our fleet, how many have no seat belts, how many have 2-point seat belts, how many have 3-point seat belts, and what would be the cost to retrofit the 2-point and no seat belt to 3-point seat belts, right? And so that is the board's obligation, is to acknowledge whether it's feasible or not. If it's feasible, we're done. We're allocating the budget to convert them. It's not feasible. Okay, so Don is going to show the rest of the report that we're going to submit as required by the agency, and then in the end we'll talk a little bit about kind of our strategy towards compliance. Now it's unfunded currently, but our anticipation, our hope, is that the reason the legislature directed the commissioner to complete this study and to submit his findings is to then be able to evaluate the reality, the feasibility across the state, given current funding levels, for school districts to comply. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but we'll always ask, I'm sure, because I know I'm gonna ask, how do you police that? Like, how do you make sure that they're buckled up and?
It will definitely add layers of, and we'll let Don talk to that, but layers of responsibility and challenge with compliance with seatbelts and actually getting kids in buckled in,
Right, you're
especially the
giving us the
littles.
funds to put them on the buses, but are they being used kind of thing?
Yeah, and he won't get into it tonight, but in previous years, we've also shared all of the research around
Right.
the data associated with accidents and how safe, how much safer, if at all, are three-point seatbelts versus no seatbelts. So anyway, I'll turn it over to Don, let Don share essentially the data.
Yeah, so Mr. Toscano's already kind of gone over all this, and he talked about all this technically as of right now has to be under compliance by September 1, 2029. And all of this is basically taken directly out of the information that was sent to us from TASB, and all of this, like he just said, it's not feasible for us, and it's not within our district's budget to proceed, right, to either buy these buses with three-point seatbelts or to retrofit our current fleet by September 1, 2029. Then I'll have to get with Mr. McKay, the guru of the Sentinel stuff, and we'll upload all of this information into there by the end of May 29th of this year. So he's kind of already done an exceptional job of already detailing all of this information. Kind of already gone through that. And so just as far as data presentation, what we will be uploading into Sentinel, if it's not feasible, not within the district budget to comply with this by the overall September 1, 2029, is we ultimately have to provide the number of buses in our district that are not equipped with seatbelts. Three main categories, right? Buses that are equipped only with 2-point, and then buses that are equipped with 3-point. And then at the end of the day, the estimated cost to equip all buses with 3-point seatbelts. So again, all of that is due by May 29th of this year. And then as it stands right now, on January 1st of 2027, TA will begin compiling all those costs across the state, see how much financial assistance districts may need, whatever that looks like. And what we had to do was basically reach out to vendors, and we currently have three different vendors that we've dealt with over the years since I've been here. Before I was here, of the different types of vendors through Rush, to Bluebird, and Longhorn, IC buses, and Commerce buses. And so this is essentially right now, we currently have 119 buses in our fleet, and we have to provide quotes, right, that have a spreadsheet that we'll have to upload into there. And so this bus has this many seats, and so this quote gets attached to it, and basically the dollar figure amounts to everything here, so you can see the different classes of buses. Your Class A, I don't know if you want to get in the weeds and all that.
Yeah, if you would just differentiate
Our Class A buses are we call them 15 passenger buses, which is a driver plus 14 passenger. The beauty of those buses is that you do not have to have a CEO to drive them, but you do have to have a 20-hour certification class. So we utilize some of those on our McKinney-Vento routes over the course of years. They've been instrumental with the growth of our McKinney-Vento population and helping us get in there.
And McKinney-Vento are students who are unhoused, homeless.
Our Class Cs are quote-unquote bigger buses, right? And those are anywhere from 72 to 74 to 77 passenger buses. Our special needs buses can run from 30-something to 40-something to 54 passenger. And those, of course, are our smaller buses. So overall, long story short, when you're looking at almost $3.3 million to retrofit our current fleet as is, and on average, you can have Longhorn at $32,000 to $33,000 a bus right now, and then Bucks Wheels right now will come in and do buses for upwards of $39,000 to $40,000 a bus. You have some vendors, as in Bluebird, who won't even touch it. They won't even retrofit their own buses right now. They've chosen to stay away and not even issue out any quotes on anything like that. So this will be the information that will be uploading in the Sentinel, and the two main quotes that we'll be utilizing will be the one from Longhorn and the one from Bucks, along with the data spreadsheet that I have with every vehicle in our fleet, the VIN number, the number of seats, and then the quote that correlates to the actual bus. And that's essentially that part there.
Yeah.
Talk about planning moving forward.
So the implications for this are, on one hand, we hope, which isn't a really good strategy, we hope that the data reveals that the legislature needs to invest, right? For this to become a reality that we're all compliant by 2029. In the interim, this lets us know that our replacement cycle of buses has to be revisited, because we know that a lifespan of a bus that we need to really start thinking about the amount of cost we're putting in versus thinking about replacement is about 15 years. But given the fact that now you have some that you need to consider retrofitting 3-point seat belts, and any new buses we buy probably need to be the ones with 3-point seat belts, to kind of change our strategy. So 3-point seat belts, the difference between a bus, 77 passenger bus with no seat belts versus a 77 passenger bus with 3-point seat belts, what's the delta? What's the cost?
The cost, I was just talking to Fred again today. So historically, you can buy a bus without 3-point seat belts right now for about $157,000 without seat belts. So now you can get one fully equipped with a 3-point seat belts for about $8,000 more. So as of right now. Right?
For about $8,000. Keep it in mind, it's about $25,000 to $30,000 to retrofit buses.
So that's about $470 a seatbelt.
I taught English so much.
He doesn't do math in public.
I'm gonna break out my phone.
That's all right. That's what it comes out
Is
to.
Texas
No,
the
yeah,
only
yes,
one
sir.
that has a Senate bill that, or the Senate decided to do this? Because how are they even making them without 3-point seatbelts then? Like, why would they even make them without? Why is there an option? Is there
I'm imagining it's probably, it has historically been proven to be as safe or safer
Right.
based on the design of buses to not have children, passengers in seatbelts.
So they passed this bill, but they're allowing TA to gather this data to just fund them?
I
Or to
think they're
say,
just going
never
to-
mind, sorry.
Well,
it's
yeah,
going
they
to
might.
cost much.
I mean, another hope is either they fund it or they say, wait a minute, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, we're gonna back off.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
it's
so,
still
but we
gonna-
don't know that. So our strategy needs to be probably any new buses we buy, because we're tracking on, we have to be compliant by 2029. If between now and then, we buy, 5 to 6 buses a
They
year,
need to have the 3-point.
and we're not buying 3-point seatbelts, by the time 2027 report is collected and submitted, that gives us a short year and a half or two to either comply or not. So we need to start working towards it.
But are
right?
they gonna fund, so if they fund them, if they fund retrofitting them on buses that don't have them already, and there's those funds there, if we buy them with the 3-point, we're out that money?
Probably. I don't know.
So then just buy them without, and then.
Yeah, well,
it passes.
that's one option the board has, is to say, let's hedge our bets and let's just buy them without.
Right.
And
Because we
hope
already
that they
got
fund retrofitting later, so I don't know, our best thinking was, and it may not be the best thinking, ultimately this body needs to decide. If we buy new buses, maybe we buy one less a year than we would have otherwise, because we gotta pay the additional cost
Right.
for 3-point seatbelts. Over the course of the next few years, we start to build the fleet, we start looking at the ones that are newer and consider retrofitting those. The ones that are, maybe not 15 years, but I don't know, we were talking like 8 or 9 years.
We'd have to come together and identify.
We say about that time frame, we're not gonna retrofit those.
Yeah.
Because they won't have enough life to get ROI on those seatbelts. So we gotta spend some time wrapping our heads around the strategy.
Because we have a year that they don't need the data until January 2027.
Correct.
So.
Well, we have to submit it now.
Right, but
the
TA
commissioner
is not gonna
doesn't
start.
have to start aggregating it until January 2027.
Right.
I think currently, one of the pieces we discussed also, we go back and looking at some of the data we we currently have 22 buses right now that are already, aged out technically. But they're, they're still part of our fleet because we have them, on standby in case of emergencies or whatever else, right? So, but we're not going to ever to retrofit to pour all money and stuff into that.
Buses that will be out of the fleet.
It'd be obsolete. Yeah.
So if you buy a bus without seatbelts, does it have the attachment points for the seatbelts?
So great question. So in dealing with, so since I kind of got on board or whatever, and dealing with the different vendors and the different types of services, because that's such a huge piece of it, right? Is the service afterwards. Because we were dealing with Thomas my first couple of years as a coordinator, and you have warranty, warranty work. And so we would have to send the buses out for warranty work for that particular vendor at the time. You might not get that bus back for a good while because they didn't have the service level. And so that's one of the reasons we went away and we started going back. We went back to the internationals, and the service with them has been outstanding, and we stayed with them. So the great thing on that is that they had standardized seat structure, to where with that, it's as simple as bolts, and basically the back seat is just replacing a cartridge, right, with the 3-point seat bolts.
Is that with the internationals?
That's what the internationals is.
So
and they basically put
to that point, it might be wise for us to go with internationals.
Correct.
If we buy the ones with no seat belts, they would be the easiest
to swap out.
Retrofit, because of the way that they've standardized their seat carriers.
Bluebird not so much, but Thomas definitely not.
Bluebird is not offering any relief either, so anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're limited on options, obviously. There's no outside organization or group that can do that work at a third of the cost. I mean,
Not that we've found. So we're gonna keep looking at it. And the other part too, so they've had different webinars that they've offered. I know I've been in one, and that was more of a, honestly, more of a Q&A, type deal towards the very beginning of this thing. They have talked about potential grants and stuff like that, but I honestly think that most of all of that won't come out until, this is my opinion. I don't think any of that will come out right until TEA really looks at what this cost is going to.
interesting. It's a lot of money maker.
So again, the board's obligation with this item next week is essentially to acknowledge that it's not feasible to accept this data and allow us to upload it into Sentinel, which is where the data will be collected from all districts, that TEA will then grab January 1st, 2027. Any questions for Don? Any more?
Thank you.
You guys got a few not got the in so long.
It's the first time since 5th grade. Spelling bee champion.
Next item is 5.6, discussion of construction manager at risk, amendment number 2, new high school, number 2, package 2.
Yeah, so trustees, you guys have already approved amendment number 1 or package number 1. This is package number 2 that rounds out the total, essentially construction cost, maximum, guaranteed maximum price for the high school 2 project program. And so I'll turn it over to Ms. Gonzalez to provide some high points, but we're really pleased.
Yes, John's here.
Is John?
John's
Oh, I usually have eyes behind my head, but not today. Hi, John.
No, we
Hello,
much
Thomas.
rather met John.
Okay.
No, we're really excited. The numbers came back really good on both the GMPs. I think you'll be pleased to see some of the cost savings that we were able to realize. But in timing the market, we didn't time it, but the timing in the market right now has been favorable to us, as well as our trade partners as we work through the plans and everything else. So I think we've got some good numbers. They just came in today. We're going to work on them a little bit this next week and have them to you for next week. But we feel very good about it, and the cost savings should be significant.
Awesome.
Some of that work with the trade partners, if you'll recall, was that adjustment to the prevailing wage schedule as as well. So just a lot of work into the runway to get to this point, and some good fortune with the timing of the market, entering the marketplace. And so you'll see specific numbers next week, but what we've already seen, we'll be able to take a look at some alternates that we had in the package that we weren't sure we were going to be able to afford. So we'll bring that information to the board as well.
Yeah, that's good. Good deal.
Oh, that's a standing ovation.
Yeah. Standing though.
Are we moving on
Yes.
to item 5.7, discussion of adopting resolution authorizing purchase?
Yeah, so Mr. Thomas is projecting this, but it's also, you have handouts, if you can see better that way. They're all pretty small print. But we've run across a little bit of a challenge with this particular site where we have a solution. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. It involves procuring a small little parcel of land adjacent to this particular site. So, Mr. Thomas?
So if you'll remember, we're going to build elementary school number 11 off of Hildebrand Road. So we're actually in the back of what is going to be Red Hawk Landing Unit 5, which is not built out yet. But next to it is Red Hawk Landing Unit 4. So in this development, we have to, early on in this process, we lay a facility out, take on a lot of civil engineering, and we work with the fire marshal. One of the things that he said about our particular plan is you'll see the driveway coming in from Hildebrand. That's our responsibility to build. You'll also see that from Red Hawk Landing number 4, there's a driveway in. But the concern was that it pinched down into one intersection there at the front of the school. So the fire marshal wanted a second entrance into the site. So we reached out to Lennar and found there at the bottom of this particular piece, and I'll blow it up for you, you'll see the dark colored entrance right there onto the property. That is a piece of property that is currently owned by Lennar. We've negotiated to purchase that property so that we have a second entrance into the site to fulfill the fire marshal's requirement.
So it's essentially a 0.14 acre little lot. And by purchasing that lot, then we would have the ability to build that second entrance, which is what the fire marshal is going to require anyway.
Yes, sir. That's just a blow up of that lot.
Yeah. There you go.
And is that a done deal?
No.
No. So
What we're going to be asking the board is to authorize me to negotiate the purchase of the lot.
Okay, so y'all.
But it's available.
It's available.
Yes, ma'am.
It's available, and we'll solve that problem for us.
It's plotted for a house right now.
It's platted for a house.
It is platted for their house, yes, sir. Do y'all have any
Anybody else?
questions?
Yes, sir, thank you. Next item is 5.8, discussion of SB 11.
Trustees, I know you're very familiar with Senate Bill 11, but just by way of reminder, Senate Bill 11 is the legislation that requires school boards to take action. Keep in mind that per the Constitution and state law, everybody has a right and a legal protection to choose to pray, how to pray, what to pray, when to pray, and we do not interfere with that in decentralized ISD. In fact, we support it. We support it by policy. You'll see in an anchor document that Mr. McKay provided a summary that points to our policy, it points to current law, and it also summarizes things that we've discovered and that legal guidance has kind of pointed to include 161 pastors across many faith denominations in Texas, affirming that if schools already provide choice for those that want to pray, and when they want to pray and how they want to pray, and that is supported in policy and protected, then they're good. The statute that was passed requires boards to take action to add to that. A requirement of a time of day and a location where everybody must pray. Our recommendation is going to be to reinforce the fact that the district already adheres to constitutional rights and the law. Many examples in policy of the fact that we do so. And that we further consider adopting a resolution that affirms that in writing with specificity. And so we will then be compliant if the board does not adopt a specific time and place, check, but then follows that with an adoption of a resolution that spells out how we do uphold the Constitution and state law in regards to prayer. And the reason why we're considering, we would like the board to consider taking that path is we don't want to stop it, not adopting a specific time or location, and leaving it open to interpretation that somehow this district does not support prayer in school. Because this district supports prayer in school, as per the Constitution and state law. Any questions about that?
So you're gonna designate it a time, you're gonna designate
No.
a time and place for
No.
those that want to?
No, ma'am.
Or-
That's what the legislature wants you to take action.
Wants you to do?
We're not gonna do that. We
No.
already comply with the Constitution
Ready
and
to do
state
that.
law.
Okay.
And so, in lieu of that, after saying no to that, we want to adopt a resolution that specifies all of the ways that we comply
Right.
with the right to
We're
pray.
already doing.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. McKay, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I just want to say, in your packets, you do have a draft resolution that you could then take in the next board meeting, that if you wish to adopt. And this draft resolution is affirming what Mr. Toscano just said, that we will already follow the First Amendment of the Constitution, the Texas Constitution, and students and staff's rights to pray and read their Bible how they so choose to do, so long as it does not interfere with their job duties and or disrupt any kind of specific learning. And so this is a counter to the resolution that the state legislatures are wanting us to adopt, which is that designated time that you have to do every day for prayer and scripture reading, only when your parents sign a waiver that you can go do all the things that are the challenges with that. This is saying, no, kids are allowed to pray in East Central. Staff is allowed to pray. Kids can read the Bible in East Central. They can do it how they so choose. We're not here to tell them how to do that or police that for them. They're allowed to do that in our schools already. So we're just affirming that. So that's what Mr. Toscano was talking about. We're going to do this instead, post this on our website and say, yes, as an East Central student, you got this right.
Thank you, sir.
Next item is 5.9, discussion of proposed revision of BGAA local.
Can I do it?
Yeah.
So, with the policy committee, we went through, policies that dealt more with the board operating procedures first. And in doing that, we found a couple of things that we just want reworded and changed. And this is what will be presented to the full board for consideration. It's on this one pager. It says that there was, a 2-year term only. Board officers shall serve for a term of 2 years. I think, and the committee thought maybe revisit that every year. Either keep the slate of officers like we've done in the past, or that's when we revisit it. But the 2-year thing kind of threw us off. I don't know if y'all want to discuss that, because we discussed it and we were throwing ideas out there. Why it said that, we didn't know really why. And then the only other thing, Vice President number 2, become president only upon being elected to the position. The way it was worded, it said, will be, how was it worded, do y'all remember?
Yeah, it basically said that if for some reason the president left, that the vice president automatically becomes president. And what the policy review committee suggested is that it still gets taken back to the body of the board to decide if the vice president becomes president or if there's another slate of officers that's proposed.
Right.
So in other words, instead of an automatic, let the team decide.
Right. Those are the only 2 things that we wanted to bring to you guys for consideration for the full board. And then we'll just go on that next.
Oh,
Y'all really
We
should.
didn't know you were done.
Oh, that was fun.
All right, the next item is 5.10, discussion of Love's donation.
so Love's is building a travel stop on the intersection of 410 Southland Road. And in an effort for community outreach, Love's reached out and wants to make a $5,000 donation, $2,500 of which goes to the color guard, $2,500 goes to the band. Should the board approve this, which they would need to approve the acceptance, given that it's $5,000 or more per board policy, CDC local. We would direct the principal to work with the band director and color guard director to create a specific budget for how to utilize those funds to support those two programs. Answer any questions?
None?
Loves.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay, item 5.11, discussion of athletic donation.
So similarly, Body Armor has a promotion that they put on every year. We had a community member, Mr. John Flores, that submitted East Central ISD's athletic department for consideration. And Body Armor selected East Central ISD Athletics for a $5,000 donation. That $5,000 donation is designated for the athletic department. We'll, with your approval, give that to the athletic director and require her to put a budget together, proposed budget for how those funds will be allocated based on need in the athletic department. But again, for policy CDC local, given that it's $5,000 or more, the board would have to accept that donation for that reason.
Perfect.
Thank you, Body Armor.
Awesome, yeah, Body Armor.
Who did you say submitted that?
Mr. John Flores.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Mr. John
Very
Flores.
nice. All right, item 5.12, discussion of RFP 25-113-01, Victory Elementary bond furniture and equipment.
Yeah, so trustees, the next two items are kind of bringing back the Victory and Valor FF&E. If you recall, Meredith did a great job providing all of the detail that really exhibits the due diligence that her and her team exhausts to make sure we get best value, best quality, and they, all the specifications match our expectations. So she needed a little more time to do that the right way. What's in front of you there in your electronic packet is a detail of every specific kind of furniture and who is awarded. So rest assured, we got the best value. It matches the specifications we expected, and every stone was turned over. And Meredith would be happy to answer any questions. The Victory FF&E is $808,850 for that campus, and that's what will be put forward for your consideration next week. Any questions for Ms. Rokas?
No, I just wanted to just say thank you again for the time, the additional time. I just want to clarify, we had 15 bid submissions. The highest was at a total of $1,133,000. And in essence, the 8 categories, as you can see here, majority of them did go to a single vendor. The same vendor, however, because we were also looking at a lot of those submissions were including alternates. So we were really wanting to make sure, and where you see that we had awarded by the item, this was something different than we've done in the past, but we felt that was the best thing, and that was able to us to even save an additional amount of money with those going in that manner. So we're even about 40,000 or so below what the lowest bidder, like if we had gone with Indico throughout all of it, we were still below their bid of everything. So either which way, it was a lot. There was 153 items on that proposal to be bid on.
Excellent.
In item 5.13, discussion of RFP 25-45-01, Valor Middle School bond.
And similarly, a lot more items. You'll see 10 categories there. Again, similarly as Meredith has discussed, you'll see that the majority of items were awarded to Indico. We provided the best value in most cases, and the best quality of math specifications. There are a few examples of some carve-outs, if you will, that are similar to what she just presented. All in all, the proposed price that will be presented to the board next week for the FF&E for Valor is $1,210,050. And of course, Mayor, if you want to add any context for the number of bids that we received and the high bid versus what we ended up getting.
Very good. Yes, we had actually 14 submissions from different vendors across. What made it unique was we had where 3 of those categories went out and the vendors had to build a design and provide it back to us. So what we actually had on the proposal was individual 157 items. However, because of those design models, it hit almost closer to 200. And it was making sure that one, that the cafeteria was an area able to meet the 400 seat capacity. At the same time, it was the reception and collab areas. And at the same time, it went brain dead on the last one. Oh, library and open tech. That was a big one for us because those are very much the eye-catching when you come in. We wanted to ensure we were doing right. The highest bid that bidded on the entire was at $1,600,000. So for what we got able to bring in, we feel like the cost savings, the best value, getting it down to $1,200,000, we felt that would provide the opportunity for the district as a whole to get the quality of instructional materials in terms of those furniture items and equipment at a good price and competitive price based on how we bidded it out, and at the same time you can see where we differentiated and went by items, and so we're excited about what we're going to be able to bring in. There is a lot of new type of furniture in Valor, but we also recognize it can set a stage of what we're going to do for the high school to possibly.
Thank you, ma'am.
Nice.
You have to bow twice.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So much.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? So, a motion by Ms. Friedenheim, a second by Mr. Santos. All those in favor, raise your hand. Meeting is adjourned.